My name is Edmond Fosu, and due to some requests from many students or numerous students from the University of Ghana, in regards to having to understand how grading system is working, the FGP, and all the things that has to do with that and graduation for some final year students and other students. Today, I seek to make this thing simple for you to understand and get the nitty-gritties that comes when it comes to this. This video is based on the UG grading system and the 2017 regulation junior common handbook. And always remember that there are always regular updates at the university website that you can also check them out to get more information about issues of grading at the University of Ghana. If this video is helpful, please kindly subscribe and also share it to a friend to send to another friend to also help them understand better. So understanding GPA and grading requirement. What do you need to know? So what we seek to look over here is that we're going to look at the key terms, which is the GPA, CGPA, FGPA, how to calculate a GPA, the FGPA, how FGPA is calculated and used, the credits, and the grade requirement to graduate, the rules about having an E, an F, an X, or Z, and reset, and then the common problems and what to do about some of these particular issues. One important terms that we are supposed to familiarize ourselves with, so I'm going to explain them as we carry on over here as we are here. So credit hours, this is the weight of a course. So most courses are maybe 2 or 3 credits. So in the subsequent videos, slides, I will show you images of where you've seen on the transcript where credit is indicated and where they are placed. Yeah, so the GPT, which is a grade point, is credit hours multiplied by the grade point. So for example, a 3 credit course with what grade B, which is 3.0, gives you what a grade point of what 9.0, right? So the GPA is your grade point average for a semester, right? So in a semester, for example, you're offering 4, 5 courses, all that together divided by what the credit hours will give you that GPA for that particular semester. We're going to do that for in the subsequent slides. And then CGPA is a cumulative what GPA over several semesters. And then the FGPA, this is the final grade the GPA or the university will use to determine your class. So the determinants of your class is based on the FGPA, not the CGPA. It's based on what? On the FGPA. So as you can see the UG grading scale, right? Where, for example, we say A will give us, if you're able to score 90 to 100, which is a grade point of 4.0, that is what an A. If you're able to score from 75 to 79, that's a grade point of what 3.5. So you see the grade point over here. So that indicates over here. So a B plus is a grade point of 3.5. A B is a grade point of 3. So if you're asking yourself, where did I get that grade point from? This is the grade point for University of Ghana in terms of A, B plus B, C plus C, D plus D, E, and F, as is listed over here. To our next slide, I'll say kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're liking this and keep watching because there are more details ahead. How to calculate GPE, right? So this is, for example, let's assume that we're having Mr. Solomon Avoka, right? Did a course A, a course 2, course 3, and a course 4, right? So the credit for course A is 3. So the Mr. Avoka did political institution, which is a credit of 3. Um, public administration, which is a course of credit of 3. Then he did what? Introduction to computing and information management, is a course of 3, right? So it means that the grade point for this one, as you've gone through, you've seen earlier, right? B plus, right? B plus, the grade point for B plus is what? Is 3.5. The grade point for B is what? 3.0 in that order. So we're going to have it over 3 times 3.5, that's what the 10.5, the same thing. So it's what the credit hours times the grade point that will give us what the GPT, right? So what we are doing over here is that the 10.5 plus the 9.5, 9.0 plus 12.0 plus 7.5 adding all together is going to give us what? The GPA, which is what? 39.0 divided by 12. The 12 you're getting here is the credit hours. The credit hours is 3. So 3 plus 3 will give us 6, plus 3 will give us another what? 9, plus another 3 will give us what? 12. So divided by that will give us the 3.25. So if you check your academic record, when you go to MIS web and you click on student inquiry and you click on academic record, you see that you see your credits there, you see your grade points there, your grade, and you see the grade point there, and then you see what? The calculation for that particular semester. So that's how a GPA can be calculated for a particular what? Semester, right? So moving to understand the CGPA and then the FGPA. So the CGPA uses all the courses you have taken so far. So if you have your transcript and you open it now, when we go to academic and you open it now, realize that you see that the CGPA is accumulated or is calculating all that has been done, right? So if you're in level 400 now and all your resources are in, you realize that all if you did 44 courses, if you did 40 courses, right? All those are going to be calculated. Or if you did 100, let's say 136 credits, right, is what you took for the whole 4 years. And then all the grade point over everything there is going to be calculated. The 12 plus 9 plus 7.5 plus 10.5 is going to calculate everything divided by the total number of what of credits. Which if your total number of credits was, let's say, 136, you divide it by that and you see it there. That's a CGPA, right? So every level what counts equally, and then overall every what semester. But the FGPA over here, listen very well, is that the final GPA after all results are in for that particular academic year. So I'm going to show you. I'll show you an image of where you're going to find or see where to locate the final GPA. When you go to the alternative progress report, the final GPA for that particular maybe level 100 academic year has been written there. Level 200 is there, level 300 is there, level 400 is there, and we do the calculation. So you use your GPA with a weight of 1122 for level 100, 200, 300, and 400. So what's the 1122? So it means that the GPA you're going to see, you're going to multiply it by 1. Some will do it over 6. It's not wrong. Sometimes I'll do it over 6, but this one I'm using. So you multiply by 1. The 200 is going to be by 1. Level 10 is going to be by what? By 2. Level 400 is going to be by what? By 2. So this is what determines your class of degree. So this is what is going to determine your first class, your upper, your lower, your third class. This is what is going to determine that. So your degree class is based on your FGPA, not the last CGPA you see online. So the level GPA and the FGPA weight. So level 100, 200, 300, 400, that's how we've taken it. And then the weight over here is that, as I said, level 100 is 1, level 200 is 1, level 300 is 2, level 400 is 2. So the total weight is what? 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2, which gives us what? 6. Keep that in mind for the GPA. It's nothing difficult. Don't let the math bore you. Just a simple thing. So look over here. I've circled something here. When you go to what you see on my right, what do you see on my right? You see MIS web, right? When you click on the student enabler, right? What you see is that student inquiry. Don't go to academic record. Click on alternative progress report. When you click on alternative progress report, it will open it for you, and you see year by year. So, for example, you see level. You see the year. If you started the university in 2020, let's say 4, you see 2024, maybe 2025, 2026, 2027, in that order, with like each year having its what GPA there. So what do you see over here? You see over here that the GPA for 2024 for this particular person is 3.25, but the CGPA is 3.6. But you're going to pick the GPA in linear calculation. So assuming this is the person's level 100, that means level 100 person got what? A GPA of 3.25. Not the CGPA is going to be, you're going to use a GPA. We're going to do a calculation. I just want to show you where you're going to find that particular GPA, where it's located. It's located at what? Alternative progress report. As you see over here underlined, and I've clicked upon it. That's where you see that thing over there. So you see GPA and you see GPA, CGPA on the same what? At the same place. But your focus should be on what? On the GPA. On the GPA. So what do we see? Let's do a practical example. So in the same manner, what do I do for calculating the FGP? Let's take Mr. Danopoku, right? Let's assume that Mr. Danopoku is having this FGP. You're going to use this one to calculate. What is it? Level 100, Mr. Danopoku gets, let's say, 3.20. I've already told that the weight for level 100 is 1, right? And level 200, he gets 3.60. The weight is 1. Level 300, he gets 2.90. The weight is 2, as I said. And level 400, he gets 3.0. The weight is what? 2. So what's going to happen over here is that we are going to multiply 3.20 times 1, which will give us what? 3.20. So those in level 400, you realize that when you go to your tentative progress report, right, you're going to see that your level 100 GPA is there, your level 200 GPA is there, your level 300 GPA is there, your level 400 GPA is there. You're going to pick them one after the other. So you're picking 4: level 100, 200, 300, and 400. So you pick level 100. Let's say assume that it is 3.20, as you've done for Mr. Danopoku. We write it there. Level 200 is 3.60 times 1, which gives us 3.60, right? Level 200, as I said, is what? Level 300, I said, is 2. Level 400 is what? Is 2. So when it gets to level 300, we are now going to multiply Mr. Danopoku's what? GPU over there, which is 2.90 times 2. Likewise, the same thing for what? His 3.0 times 2, which will give us what? So for level 300, he has what? 5.80. For level 400, he has what? 6.00. So what happens here? Then the sum of the weighted value, as in now what we have for all the weighted values. So all the things we've gotten over here, all the things you've picked for level 100, 200, 300, and 400, all that you've picked, right? We are now going to what? Add them. So the 3.20 plus 3.60 plus 5.80 plus 6.00 is equal to 18.60, right? Then you're going to divide it by what? The weight, which is 6. What is the weight? The weight is the what? 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2, as I said earlier. So the FGP is now going to be equal to what? 18.60 divided by 6, which is equal to 3.10. That is Mr. Danopoku's what? Final grade point. This is the class Mr. Danopoku is going to what? Graduate it. It means that when he sees his final transcript, it will show 3.10, which will be what? Second class upper. That's what he's going to graduate with. That's what it means. So just go to your alternative progress report, as I said, if you're final year student, and then just take them one after the level 100, 200, 300, 400, and you do this calculation, and you definitely know what class you'll be getting. Don't depend on the CGPA, okay? So the degree classification is over here. So for first class is what? 3.60 to 4.0. Second class upper is 3.0 to 3.59, which, let's say, if we are assuming Mr. Danopoku has that, that's where he will fall, right? It's just an assumption of that. If it's a second class lower, it's going to be 2.0 to what? 2.99. If it's a third class, it's 1.50 to 1.99. If it's a pass, 1.00 to 1.49, and below 1.10 is considered a fail. So the takeaway here is that small movements around what the borders are very important, because for example, a 2.99 is still a lower, but 3.00 is what? An upper. So it means that even 0.01 difference can change a class. So now, credit requirement for college humanities and college of education students. Because so what I'm trying to say is that you're allowed to take up to 136 credits in total, right? So if you check your credits, you can add all the credits from level 100 where you see that 33, you can add all. You realize that some of you have done 136 credits in total, as in allowed to take up to 136. But you must pass at least 120 credits to be eligible for graduation. So if you want to be eligible for graduation, you should check that have I passed 120 credits? That 33, see, have you passed 120 credit for eligible for that will give you eligibility for graduation? But listen very well. You must not fail more than 16 credits. You must not fail more than 16 credits. It's very important. You must not fail more than 16 credits. And your core and prescribed electives, and also what those field costs must not be what lower than what E. So what I'm trying to say over here is that you must not fail more than 16 credits. And then your core courses, which are UGRC courses, are very important. If you get an E or an F in the UGRC course, you can't graduate, right? And if you get an E or an F in a research course, when I say research course, those in level 300 and 400, you get to know, mostly it comes with the name, Introduction to Political Research. And so if you get an E and an F in it, you have to write a research because you can't graduate. Likewise, the same thing, if you get an E or an F in the UGRC, you cannot graduate and you'd have to write. But there's going to be subsequent question I'm going to answer about the E and F. It is still there. I'm going to answer them. But I want to show you from an authoritative source, which is from the university handbook. I'm going to show you from the FAQs or the university website so that you actually get to know it from an authoritative source from the university. That's what I want you to take notice of. So we're going to look at that very soon. Then now we're going to the FAQs, right? We're going to go to what the University of Ghana itself is saying. What is the university saying? That's what we are going to look at now. So these are what you see over here. You see the domain you see over here. You can type in the same URL you see over here, right, into your web browser, and it will send you to the frequent question and answers that is asked by the college, and they answer them. So you can find this over there. So please, you can even Google it or search it yourself, and then you're going to see some of these questions over there, because I want us all to actually get to know the source of the information, okay? So that you're all educated, and then you definitely know where it is coming from. So we're going to look at questions that students ask or students ponder over and get answers to. So I'm going to explain them also better. So let's take one after the other. He said, can I graduate with a grade F in an elective course under the College of Humanities, let's say the College of Humanity and the College of Education? Good. So the answer over here was this: yes. This, however, not applicable to all departments in the College of Humanities or College of Education. So this is what I'm going to advise you. If you have an F, first of all, you can go and see the examination officer at that particular department. Let's assume you had an F in political science, you had an F in information studies, right? And there's no research course. You can go to the information studies department, go to the secretary office and ask for the examination officer. So when you go your transcript, the examination officer will be able to determine to tell you that this particular course, even though you have an F in it, you'll be able to graduate. So I'll advise you and admonish you that because department varies in terms of some of the courses that are there, it's always advisable to seek the counsel of the examination officer, because some courses of F you can still graduate, but that information or that particular verification has to be for the examination officer, right? And another question: can I graduate with a grade E in a core course in the College of Humanities or Education? What I'm going to say is yes. This does not, however, apply to university required courses, as already said. So if it's a UGRC course, if it's a research course, and you had an E or you had an F, you can graduate. But you can have. Let me give an example here. I'm just giving an example in context. For example, I know somebody in political who offered political science and had an E in Poly 441, right? And then was able to graduate, right? That was in Poly 441. The similarly, somebody can have an E in a poly course and have what and graduate, as long as it's not equivalent to what the 16 credit hours that you are being told. All this information can be found in the University Handbook of 2027. So when you just even Google University of Ghana Handbook for 2027, it is there. Page 49, you're going to find, you can read from page 47, 48, 49, and 50, gives you a holistic picture of all these things and actually what clarifies it very well for you, right? So to make it even easy for you, as I said, the examination officer can make these things easy for you and make you feel at ease, because you feel that it's also from what an authoritative source, and because the examination officers are in charge of having to pass students out or verify that you actually met the requirements, you can graduate. It means that seeing the examination officer puts you at ease and that indeed you can graduate from that particular department based on the requirements over there. So also, the next question we're going into, he said, I wrote a course and got grade D, but I don't like it and want to reset it. Can I? This I'll tell you, no. I remember in the first semester when Dr. Florence was asked that, someone said, I want to write a reset in I had a D, and she said, no, no, you don't have to, you can't do that. And the answer is no, because you can write a reset for an E and an F, but not a D or a C. Yeah. So if you even open your STS portal, you will not see the D or the C appear there as a reset. But if it's an E or an F, you see it appear at your STS portal as a reset. So I've been awarded a grade X in a course. What is the meaning of that? What I'll say is that at the University of Ghana, a grade X is given to a student who was not able to complete a course for a reason that has been judged unsatisfactory by the board of examiners. So it is considered a fail grade. It is similar. I would say it's similar to an F. Yeah. So grade X means that the student did not meet requirement to finish the course, and it counts as a failure when calculating or graduation eligibility for graduation or your FGPA. So if you have a grade X, and maybe for example it's an error, there is nothing of that sort, I would admonish you that you follow up with the academic office, or you follow up with that particular department that you had an X, ask for the examination officer, go for a form. You'll be given a form, you fill the form, the examination officer will actually follow up and make sure that it is dealt with and rectified for you. If you have an X and the examination board has charged you on satisfactory and all those things, you definitely they may have reached out to you, and you have to write a reset. If it's also that there are discrepancies, you can also reach out to the academic office to help you deal with that discrepancy. If you think you have an X and then it's a discrepancy, that's one thing you're supposed to put in mind. So when you have an X, that's what it means. I added a Z to it. So when you get a Z, so that's examination malpractice or similar to serious offenses. It can lead to cancellation or of a result or award. So a Z can lead to even a cancellation of the entire semester that you've written. So I always tell you, I admonish you that be very careful in the University of Ghana. Do not engage in examination malpractice and take it very serious, because you may think everything is easy until you find yourself with the examination board, and trust me, it will not be a friendly stuff at all. So stay out of trouble and make sure that at the end of the day, you write what you've learned, what you remember, and then go in peace. And you don't find yourself with the examination board, because that's a board you not want to find yourself in front. So just do the right thing, and you can graduate in one piece. If you're in level 100, 200, 300, and 400, you're not done. So the resit period. So I'm going to explain this. He said, how many years do I have to resit a paper after completing school? So for example, if you have a resit, you have 4 semesters, or let me put it as 2 years after completion to clear all resits. But after the 2 years, if you've not completed all the resits or not cleared all, you definitely would have to reach out to the university, because I know you definitely be paying some amount of school fees, or reach out to the bursar. So please, I'll admonish you that if you have resits and you're done with school and then you still can't do it, make sure within 2 years you've cleared all your resits, either by using supplementary or main reset. And if you take a main reset, don't forget that you have to do the continuing assessment that is given to that particular class, attend lectures. If you take a supplementary reset, it's over 100, and so you come and write it and you go. But be very careful and look at which type of research you are taking, and then do according to for that. Also, these are some questions I just want to touch on, and there's one last calculation. Don't leave. You're going to deal with the FGPA. I'm going to show you how it looks like and what the issue is with some people, because the question is over here. So he said, I completed my course of study in the previous years, but had some outstanding results, and so could not graduate with my colleagues. The outstanding results have now been entered, but I cannot find my name in this year's graduation list. What do I do? You are required to print your academic record and submit it to the academic affairs office of the college for processing. This is similar to the fact that if the graduation link is out and then you think you don't find your name in it and it's taking too long, is a problem, you can go to the College of Humanities. Is over in the business school, and then you submit your academic records, and then you tell them your problem. They'll help you. If the College of Education and you're part of the, let's say, distance, or you have a problem, you go towards um, the distance education office. You go to College of Education. They'll also help you, assist you to deal with all your problems at the academic office over there. So please make sure you follow up on problems or issues that are pertaining to your results. It's very, very important. Do not delegate that. Okay, there's a course rep or there's somebody dealing with you. You owe yourself that responsibility to do that for yourself. And the lecturers are open to meet you and help you out, or the workers of the university are open to help you out, assist you to do and get solutions to your problems. So make use of that. So no, I want to read a question on the right hand side before I come to the left hand side. Well, that's my last question. I'm going to translate to the calculation we're going to do. Can I be part of the graduation ceremony after completion of school when I have passed all my recent papers? And the answer is, well, a student who has passed all recent papers is eligible to attend the graduation ceremony, provided he or she belongs to a cohort graduate. So, for example, you are unable to graduate this year. You wrote a paper and then is now entered. You've passed. You have the right to also graduate with what the new ones who are about to graduate. You just have to send your documentation to the appropriate quarters, and they will help you address and you find your name in the graduation list. How do I know I'm eligible for graduation? There'll be a link available that will talk about payments, that will talk about, you see the list and you enter your ID number, it will show you your class and all those things, and then the badge you'll be part of and all those things. All those things will be available to the university, and we're on the university website. So don't worry, don't panic. All this information will be given to you before graduation kicks there. And the university will make sure that everybody who has actually gone through the process and has to graduate will graduate. This is the last question, and pay attention to it very well. I have been short-changed by the university. The CGPA on my academic record for my final semester is 3.20, 3.20. But my name has been added to students who got second lower class in the graduation list. So what this person is trying to say is that when he downloads his academic records, or when he's ordered for his final transcript, let's say, what he can see is that on the paper he's seen that his CGPA is 3.20, which means that when all what he's trying to say, when all has been added and divided by the number of credit hours, everything has been added for the 4 years divided by the number of credit hours, he or she had 3.20. But his final grade point is showing that he was part of lower. It means that his FGPA, he was putting, that means that his FGPA was actually lesser, right? So I'm going to show you something. I've shown you how the calculation of the FGPA, and I've told you that the class is determined by, I repeat, by your FGPA, which is the GPA, not the CGPA. So look at this. This is for demonstration. What I showed you earlier to go and look at alternative progress report, right? So I'm just using this particular one as an example. So let's take our pens and paper and let's do this simple calculation, and then realize that, for example, does the university just change this person or not? So this person on his final, on his GP, on his CGPA, the person had 3.6, which you say is a first class, right? But when we calculate the GPA, the person had 3.54, which is a second class, upper, not a first class. So I want to make you understand how come that calculation, or how come this person did not have the first class that she was complaining about. When she came in, the calculation was done. The person realized that indeed the calculation is right, and then the results, or the class she's going to have, is upper, not a first class. So this is it. We take the GPA I've circled in red. That's the GPA. So the GPA for level 100, the person have 3.7. You're going to times it by 1 over 6. 3.7 times 1 over 6 will give us 0.61. 0.61. Then the year 2, which is level 200, after she was done with all her courses, all the 10 courses she picked, the GPA the university she had was 4.0. So that was what 4.0 times 1 over 6, which will give us what 0.66. 0.66. Then level 300, she had a GPA of 3.58, right, times 2 over 6, which is equal to 1.19. 1.19. As I said, that the level 300 and 400 is what 2 is by 2, not 1. So it is 3.58 times 2 over 6, which is equal to 1.19. Then level 400, the GPA was what? Was 3.25 times 2 over 6. 3.25 times 2 over 6, which is equal to 1.08. 1.08. So when we add 0.61 plus 0.66 plus 1.19, I hope you're adding them up, plus 1.08, we are going to have a GPA of 3.54. It means that she's going to graduate with a second class upper. So look at this, second class upper. So when you look at her original, the transcript that she, or the original transcript, realize that the on my right side, the one I've circled in red, which is the FGPA, was what 3.54. 3.54, as I mentioned, what we calculated 3.54. Then when you look at the one on my left, the one I've circled with the blue, what do you see? The CGPA was what 3.6, but we are using what the FGPA for what the class, the graduation, not what the CGPA. I hope you're getting me. So the person was not shortchanged, the person was not stolen by the university, the calculation was not wrong. So this is how come it came to that. So before you celebrate or before anything, I would admonish you that ask yourself, have I passed at least 120 credits or the correct total for my program? You have to ask yourself that question. Have I completed and passed all UGRCs with D or a better grade? And then I also add the fact that if you've not failed in your research course, it's also very important. You look at that also, right? And then I'm saying that the third one is that my field as in core or in prescribed elective as I would are 16 credits or less and not below E. So put this in your mind before you can think of saying that I have an F, I can graduate. I've told you that you can only do that if the examination officer you've seen at your department that you had that particular F in. For example, if you had an F in an information studies course and you see the examination officer, she tells you you can graduate, you can graduate. If she says you can, he or she says you can graduate, that means you have to write a receipt of it because you have to check what the department, the examination officer is very important. But if you had an E and it's not a UGRC, a research course, you can graduate as long as it's not more than 16 credits. It is not you're not exceeding the 16 credits, right? So that is it. And then also, if you're doing the thesis, you have to make sure that your project or your thesis has been submitted and graded, which is required. And then you check that you can also check that your name, the program, and index number appears correctly on what on the provisional graduation list. That will come out. A link will be made available, and then you can see all that in due time. It will come up. And then have I followed up on all any missing or wrong results? So as I said, you owe yourself that responsibility. You reach out to the academic office. You can send them an email. By reach out to them by email, you go to the university website, the email of the academic office is there, and then tell them about your results. If it's not missing or it's not in and it's taking too long, the year you wrote it, tell them the year you wrote that particular results, where you all the information that you can remember about the paper, add it to it to help to make their work easy to also track for you. And I said to, if you're also having some missing results or some grades, you can go to what the department and look for the examination officer, talk to the examination officer, and the examination officer is going to help you. If there are even forms for you to fill or anything that he or she can do to assist you, they will give you that counsel or that guidance for you to go through. You owe yourself the responsibility to make sure that all these things are done right and done right for you. So, where to get the help? departmental examination officer has as I mentioned, every department has an examination officer. So the information studies department has an examination officer. The sociology department has an examination officer. The political science department has an examination officer. Philosophy, classic, all the examination officers at each particular department. When you so make sure you visit the examination officers to help give you clarity on some of these things, or in terms of if you have an F. So the College of Humanity or the College of Education Academic Office are also places you can go for counsel, you can go for guidance and seek redress to some of these challenges that you may be facing. Also, the University of Ghana Academic Affairs website and then what the Humanities FAQ that I showed you are places you can get answers. You can also reach out to the academic office via email and ask for questions or inquiries on all things. And there's also a hotline available on the university website that you can also get in touch with them, and they're going to help you out. So thank you so much for watching this video on FGPA calculation and graduation requirements, and then the University of Ghana grading system. I hope you now have a clearer picture of how your class is determined and what you need to check as a final year student. If this helps you or helped you, please like the video, share it with your classmates, and subscribe to the channel so that when we post new things, we can all learn together. As we'll be doing that for the process for graduation, how the length and what you have to do. There'll be other further videos on that, and also there'll be other further videos on other academic topics that you can send to us to do videos on. So if you still have questions about any specific issue, you can drop a comment or send me an email at the address on the screen that was posted earlier, and I will try my best to guide you. All the best as you finish your exams and now you prepare for graduation. All the best to every student who is still in school as you try to do your best. Thank you very much for subscribing, and thank you for liking our videos.